Welcome to the Love Kanique podcast. My name is Kanika, and that's V. Lost her for a second, but she's back.
Yeah, my bad, y'all. Hey.
Did you get a phone call? You got a phone call?
No, man, I don't know what happened. It glitched something. I don't know. You know this technology. It'd be good sometime, and sometime,
That is a fact. Well, welcome everyone to another episode of the Love Kanique podcast. If you are new to our channel, which you probably are, because we've been doing it maybe like a little over 2 years now, thank you for tuning in. Millions of channels, probably billions, who knows. We appreciate you stopping in, to chop it up with us. If you don't mind subscribing to my channel, it's this very, very small channel. We're building it so we can use all the help and support that you're able to give. And you can also hit the notification bell. Let us know. We usually do this show on Wednesday at 6, but when we have guests, we try to accommodate because people work and all of that, give them time to get home and get settled. So sometimes we'll do it at 6:30 or 7. So that way you'll be notified once we are live. Okay, welcome everybody, my friends who are joining Vanita and I to have this discussion tonight. Thank you for taking the time out. I always love and appreciate y'all. Y'all could be chilling and y'all always, every time I ask y'all to come on, it's no hesitation, and I love and appreciate y'all for that. So tonight we're going to talk about dating with children. And we wanted to have this discussion because Lou, who you see there in the middle of the screen, and I are really close friends. And we always have conversations about the dynamics of women and men trying to incorporate dating and maybe getting exclusive and serious with somebody and integrating the children into that, and how that dynamic should work, function, or probably what would be some of the best methods to make the transition a little bit smoother for everybody involved. Because you have the new man, you have the ex, the baby's father, and then you have the children, which is a whole nother set that the mom has to deal with. So she has 3 different situations she's trying to navigate as she tries to implement this everybody into her life. So Lou, I will let you go ahead and start. You can start. Tell us what you think, what you've seen, what you've heard, and then we'll go from there.
So how this conversation came about was I had 2 of my good friends contact me in reference to issues that they are currently dealing with in their relationships with the women that they're involved with. And to me, one of those, well, both of them, there wasn't a natural path of set prior to them being at the stage of their relationship now. Like, one guy is married. He's known and been with said person for at least 10. I think they've been married 5, together 10, something like that, right?
Okay.
Then the other gentleman moved in with said woman, and she has and let me say this. When I say kids, one is a high teenager, meaning 16, 17, and now the other one that's married, the child is, I ain't call him a child. He grown now. He like 19, 20.
Okay.
But he's still at the crib.
Okay.
right? And so they are having mad difficulties dealing between the kid, the mom, what the mom say, what the kid do, so on and so forth.
Okay.
A lot of it, in my opinion, should have been nipped in the bud early on when you're dating women that have kids.
Okay.
If you were talking about being in a committed relationship slash marriage, if you're just hanging out, having some dates, none of this matters. But in this case, they are totally invested in the situation, and it is a rocky, rough road.
Okay.
I do blame them, the man, for not putting forth the boundaries, the uh, things that they need in place to go forward before you get knee deep into a woman's house
Okay.
or you get knee deep into a marriage.
Okay.
All those things need to have been thoroughly discussed, front to back, side to side, right? In these two cases, the one one of the baby's fathers, there's no issue there at all, and the other one, he's ghost. So they're not dealing with as your introduction said, they're not dealing with a three-headed monster. It's a four-headed monster, I guess, or three. It's just mama, kid, man.
Okay.
So the baby daddy be the fourth. So
Okay.
there's no baby daddy in these cases. That's a problem,
Okay.
right? So when me and you were talking, I was speaking like, man, I always have felt that if you're dating a woman and y'all have established what the relationship is long termly, then it is up to her to vet you first to be around kids. And then I think that should be a very slow process of being around the kids, introduction, so on and so forth.
Okay.
You all are going to go into uh, a long version, then you need to be around the kids. They get exposed to you, vice versa. And if you guys are going to be in the same household, there needs to be a precedent set as far as the who, what, when, and where. Who can say what? How can you say things? The disciplinary things. And disciplinary is not necessarily whooping ass, but hey, I'm gonna take the iPad. You can't go to the football game. All that's disciplinary things. Is it in this guy's hands? He need to come and tell you about it? Do you need to talk to the baby daddy? All those things need to happen so everybody's on the same sheet of music. Because no matter what, the kids are still people too,
Okay.
and that's when I think things get tricky because a mother, you women by nature are nurturers.
Yes.
So this man is coming in, and she's trying to buffer all these things. But for her emotions, the kid's emotions, make sure he's straight, the kid's straight. There's a lot of moving parts. So that's where this conversation is coming from.
Let me ask you this. Your
Okay.
friend who called with the kid, that's the issue. What exactly does he say the problem is
Which
with
one?
the child, with the grown kid? He
The
said it's
grown
not
kid.
a baby daddy. So what's the issue between the mama, him, and the child?
So um, when they were in the same house, the child would just be in the room. He's antisocial. And later on, he found out that the kid thought he he didn't talk to him or check with him about dating his mama, right?
Okay. Okay.
But realize I said that particular couple, they're 10, at least 10, maybe 13 years. So when he came into that boy's life, that boy was probably 8, 9 years old.
Okay.
And so according to him, he's tried to, you know, get to know the boy, be around the boy. And he says some of the hesitancy is the mother cushions, backs off him from certain things being said, certain things being done. Like i.e., and this may sound off the wall, the boy don't even know how to iron his own clothes. So
Okay.
and I'm gonna branch that out a little bit. In order for a black boy to become a black man, he needs certain things to go on in his life. And some of those things aren't pretty, they're not nice, they're not any of those things. But if you back the man off from that, this is what you end up having.
So are you saying that you perceive that black women coddle their sons until the point where it keeps them from becoming the man that they need to be? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that as a blanket statement, but I'm saying that aspects of it apply.
Gotcha. Vanita, what do you think about that? Do you agree? Do you think that as moms, black women coddle the boys and it kind of keeps them from, growing and evolving into a man? Especially when another man is brought into, you think it's too much coddling in the situation?
I do think that women have to create boundaries even with their kids, and they're not really realizing that, and teach them skills as if they were not around anymore. And I don't think that women do enough of that.
Okay. What about you, Tasha?
I think some women do that, not all, because I didn't.
You didn't do that. Okay.
No, I don't. I'm a strong opponent against raising grown people. So, or taking care of grown people. So you got to be gone by a certain age. You got to figure it out. So I'm gonna give you the tools you need so you can get out my house by a certain time.
Chris, what about you? Thank you, Tasha. Chris, what about you? You were single father raising your children. As you incorporated women into, or did you? Did you bring women into into the fold when having raised your kids pretty much by yourself too? I think you're on mute, Chris.
Yeah, he's not on mute, but we can't hear him.
We can't hear you. If you can hear us, we don't have, you might want to go in and come back out because we can't hear you. There's no
You can't hear
sound.
me?
There's no.
Oh yeah, now we can.
Now we can.
Yeah, now we
Yeah.
can.
I wasn't
Now we
talking.
can. Oh, you were talking.
Oh,
Okay.
my bad.
I wasn't talking. You all right? Yes, I did. I wrote down a couple of things. I was listening to Lou talk. For me, I think one of the most important things I would say to any man dating a woman, do not move into her house. Don't move into her house. I think a lot of the issues I've seen partners of mine have was that's that young man's house. If that woman has a son, he was the man of that house till you showed up. And he's going to fight for his position. And a lot of times that's what they're dealing with. They're dealing with that young man saying, this is my home. And he might not say it's my home. He'll say, this is my mom's house. So in right, what he's saying is, this is my house. Because I'm going to make sure nobody don't hurt my mom. And I don't know, trust you enough to hand it to you. So I always tell any guy, even if that woman owns that house, and I said this to my brother, I said, you need to go rent a house or go buy a house and pull her into your house and into your fold. Because then those young men are going to understand that they fall underneath your umbrella.
That's deep.
And then it's going to have a whole different dynamic with the power and how y'all deal with each other and bringing balance to y'all having the ability to have a relationship. And it start out on neutral ground.
I agree with that.
I agree with that, but did I miss the question? I thought it was whether or not they coddle.
Yeah, we about to get to that point.
Oh, dude,
yeah,
women coddle their boys.
Yeah, he wanted to.
My bad, Tasha. Tasha always come out
No, I just want to make sure I didn't miss something.
Okay, but
Chris is like, I don't want no smoke.
I want to make sure I didn't miss something.
I already know. I know underneath that black has some blonde hair. And you know, women with blonde hair like to fight. So I do think that a lot of women coddle their sons, but I've learned to perceive that as that also can be a good sign of a good mother. And having that man in there helps bring the balance to that coddling, so it's not overboard. But an attentive mother who's there for her son, she might not understand that gray area of when she's going too far. She's just being there for her child.
Do you agree with that, Bruce?
It's hard to determine when you need to pull that back. So you know, if she trusts the man she's with, then it'll be helpful in bringing that balance to that situation.
Lou?
So the things Chris said. So the things Chris said about a man providing a home and shouldn't move in, I'm 100% behind that. 100%. The reason, and I've said this to these gentlemen, the reason that you're in this spot is because you didn't provide a spot. Right? If you have your own spot or you have the means to, like Chris said, I'm only talking about commitment and marriage. I'm not talking about hanging out.
Yes.
So if you are going to do that, then make that move, because everything should be moving slow anyway. And then you say, hey, well, I want to marry you. We're going to get engaged, whatever. Then you should be able to get yourself in a position where you can either, y'all can get a place together, or they can move into your spot. I would never tell a king to relinquish his castle. Never. You need a whole firm on that, because that brings a whole bunch of other stuff. We talk about that later. But far as these kids, your place needs to be established based upon the conversation that you and their mother have.
Lee Allison.
Yes, ma'am.
You married, you got married and already had children, had boys, and you know, how was it integrating? Because I know you love your babies, and you know you're a little bit of a softie, and I know D, he's sad. So
oh yes,
yeah. So how was that integrating your husband into your boys' lives? And how old were they when you met him?
my boys were teenagers. My youngest was in, I think he was in 5th grade. My youngest was in 5th grade, and my oldest is 4 years older than my youngest. So he was like in what, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and going into high school when I met him. It was like the 8th grade going into high school. So during the summer, I didn't have a hard time because my sons never really seen any other guys come around other than their dad. And when they seen him, they were actually happy for me. Like I was actually going to have someone there that I could go out and hang out with. And they were kind of happy. And the transition was like, it was really smooth, because I don't think D like tried to overstep any boundaries. He didn't try to tell me at first what they could or could not do, and they didn't disrespect him either. So I didn't have a problem. In getting into our relationship as the years went by after he moved in with me. So what the other what's his name, Chris was saying?
Chris.
I agree with Chris, not because I experienced anything in against me letting D move in with me, but I do agree with Chris. I didn't have any issues though like that, because D didn't try to, I guess, take on the fatherly role at first. He didn't. So I can't really relate in that sense.
That's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. Lou, let me ask you this. In your opinion, and having experienced this, when you get in there, how much authority do you perceive you should have? And how do you bring that to the mom? Like, how much control over the children do you, or how much say so do you think you should have?
As much as my time and my pockets can allow.
What does that mean? Explain that to me.
So when you're dealing with a woman with children, at some point you are going in your pockets, whether it be cooperative or non-cooperative. You're gonna go in your pockets. You're feeding. You're gonna some clothing. Gonna be some heat. Gonna be some toilet tissue. It's gonna be some. There's gonna be some gas. It's gonna be some things that move like that. And in that sense, then I'm not the person that just. I'm not just a robot. So if I'm going to be involved in that on a daily, I expect to have some type of, and the term say so is strong, but I would expect that you would trust and believe in my decision making.
So because you're providing, you feel like you should be able to give them discipline?
Yes.
Okay. Vanita, what do you think about that?
I think it's a discussion between the mother and the individual, whoever, or the father and the woman, whichever way. It should be a discussion that's had on it, because kids are already, the dynamic of them not having their mother or father in their life at the time and someone else stepping in is a delicate situation. And a lot of times we'll say it's the father it's a new boyfriend that's coming in on the mom side. She's done the best that she can to structure that child the best way she can. So to have someone come in and just fully disrupt that without a full conversation and an understanding and some kind of medium, it's just a lot on all parties.
But I am not saying from the giddy up on the horse. Now, remember, my conversations always extend from they are going down a path of a committed relationship / marriage. This ain't like you met the guy at 112 and then he coming in and he telling you, hey, your child didn't wash the
And
dishes.
I don't disagree with you, Lou, but what I will say is a conversation still needs to be had. I don't care how much time y'all didn't kicked it, or if you halfway down or out. Like, a conversation needs to be had and constantly be had, and all parties need to come to the table. Like, it's not as you said earlier, kids are humans.
True.
So treat them as such.
True, right.
They should be at the table and give their point of view on how they're feeling, why they're feeling that way, or what's going on with them.
So you think that the child should have some say so in the conversation as well?
They should have some kind of input on how they're feeling about whatever it is. They're in that house too. Why leave them out? They're human.
Lou, do you agree with that? Bring the kid in?
Oh, yeah, they can say something. We can talk about it. But I mean, we don't go. So we don't go talk so much about what you feel. For me, it's gonna be. But and I don't mean that to sound bad. I'm saying, let me give you a scenario.
Okay.
With the gentleman that I'm speaking of, they can't say too much because they're in one of them in another woman's house.
Yes.
But when the boy acts up, the first person she come to is him. He ain't do this to his room. He ain't clean up. He ain't take the trash out. He ain't do this. So then she wants him to say something to the boy. But then when he wants to say other things to the boy, well, no, he's a good kid. He's doing well in school. It can't be both. So to Vanita's point, there has to be constant conversation. We can't turn it on, turn it off. Because like the boy, for example, this particular boy, he did it the car that she just got him. And so now she like, you need to say something to him about that. What? He need to take the trash out. So you want me to say something or you don't want me to say something? It can't be both. And this goes to how women, the nurturing and the calling and the nurturing she cares for. It can't be both. And I'll fast forward to the other gentleman that the boy is 19, 20. He's living in the crib. He's living there because he's working at Burger King. He's not. He ain't. And I have. How do you make your money? Make your money. I don't get down like that. I don't get down what you do. If the trash man offered me a $250,000 right now, you'll see Lou on back of the trash truck. I don't care about that. I'm only saying if you're gonna be at Burger King, maximize that. If you're gonna be in college, military, whatever he's gonna do. But he's at the crib. He's not moving. He's just there.
So, Lou, question for you: what is it that your homeboy feels like he should be able to do at this point? Because as you said, they've been in the house for a while, so certain things should have been established early on.
I said that off the rip. Like they have made major mistakes to get to this point, and so now they're feeling the aftermath of it and trying to fix it from the back end, which should have been fixed on the front end. Not everything, but the majority of it should have been fixed on the front end.
So what is it that they want her to do at this point? What is it? What kind of resolution are they looking for now?
He doesn't know. He's in the tailspin. He don't know. He's like, man, because he's married. That guy's married. He's married.
I mean, and this is, I've heard this from men, and some women. The children, I mean, when a child gets a certain age, unless the mama is really putting her foot down, and I'm not a mom, but what I've seen with a lot of moms, there's a guilt there. Going back to what you said, Lou, about he's just there and he's not moving, and you don't basically your friend probably don't understand why she's not pushing him out of the house. Or not trying to make him do something. Yes. Right. And I think the disconnect between mothers and men who come into these situations is, and all the moms on the panel can tell me if this is right. Is there a guilt that mothers are carrying? Just in general, and also a guilt of bringing a new man. And I'll ask each one of you individually, was there any guilt with incorporating the new man into the kids' lives, meaning that you maybe felt like you were not giving them your all, or not necessarily abandoning them, but doing something for yourself? What is there guilt in this transition which causes women to kind of try to coddle the kids a little bit? And I'll ask V first.
I'm sure it is. I didn't necessarily have that type of situation. I didn't incorporate or really let any guy. Tiara had to be 15, 16, something to that effect before anybody came around her. And to this day, she's really only met one person. So it's kind of hard for me to speak on it, but I would assume that, yeah, it probably is some guilt to it.
What about you, Tasha? Did you have any guilt? Because you had children when you got married to your son's father. How did you feel about it all?
I wasn't guilty. No. And it's not even, so my kids were really young when I got married, but more so in committed relationships, 2 committed relationships that I've had since I've been divorced. My children were a little older where they could understand what the situation was. And I never felt guilty because before I would make a decision to bring the man around my kids, like I knew how he treated his own children. Uh-huh. So I wouldn't have had an issue with him interacting with mine. And when they came around my kids, they incorporated the kids into anything that we did. So it wasn't like the kids felt that a man was taking me away from them. It was just another person added to the party. So it wasn't like there was no need for me to feel guilty because the guys never took time away from my children.
Right. Gotcha. So let me interject real quick. That's what I was saying before. You slowly bring that in, so it's a process. So it's not like a shocking thing that mama has a man.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Devi, what about you? Thanks for joining. What has been your experience? I know, we're married and then you got out into the dating world and I'm sure you met women with children and dated and all of that. What have you seen? Has it been an easy transition for you coming into the kids' lives? How have you seen the women reacted? Did they give you authority? How did you feel about it?
He's
I
on
think
mute.
you're,
You're
I
on
think you're
mute,
mute.
David.
Oh, lost him.
Yep.
Lost him. Okay, well he'll come back in a second.
Wanna
What
go.
about you? What about you, Chris? What about because I'm sure you've dated women with children and dealt with that. How was it the experience for you? Did you get authority? Did you want authority? Like, how was it for you?
Am I back?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay, y'all can hear me?
Yes.
I apologize. Yeah. So yeah, it was not easy at all. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It was not easy at all because the woman had this. She wanted all the benefits of having a man over her children, but she didn't want none of that discipline things. She couldn't take that. Like, for instance, the woman that I was involved with, she had two small girls, right, 5 and 3. And they had behavioral problems. But when I came in the picture, even the youngest one, the 3-year-old, I said 7 and 5, 7 and 5. The 5-year-old, her teachers noticed her behavior changed, like she was for the better, and that's because I came in and put in order and discipline and all that stuff. Never talked down to the kids, never yelled or fussed. I had already told her I didn't even have to spank my own daughter, so I didn't believe that man should put his hand on girls, especially little girls. So so, but she had problems with how I would talk to the girls, even if I'm talking to them in a soft way or whatever. It was always something. So I'm like, well, how can I be the leader and the authoritative figure in this house when I have no authority? And that's a problem. That was a problem.
Gotcha.
Hey,
And so my
Diddy,
situation,
Diddy,
just to
quick question
clarify,
for you.
I
Was
never
it,
brought a man into the house to stay, so maybe it's a little different.
Diddy, was it your house?
No, it wasn't my house. And so we get into that. Like I didn't even want to. So first of all, I didn't even want to deal with a woman that had small children because of that. I never dealt with a woman who's had small children, right? Women, when I started dating after my divorce, when I started dating, most of the women, their children were like 18, 19 or older. So didn't have that issue until with her. So it was new for me, but I had already raised children. So I'm like, it's not a difficult thing to raise children. So
Okay. What were you about to say, Tasha?
And I say the men never stayed with me. I never moved a man in. So maybe that's a little different in my situation. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm not with that.
What, moving men in?
Mm-mm.
He would have had to have bought the house.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel you. I think what Chris said, and a lot of people don't really want to admit this or whatever, but there are power dynamics in relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are power dynamics. And a lot of the power dynamics, a lot of times, has to do with who's carrying the finances or whose name the house is in or the apartment is in, right? Because can't nobody tell you to get out or boss you around in your own shit. Well, I hope they can't tell you to get out and boss you around in your own shit. I think the problem with a lot of men while they encounter this situation is because you didn't establish yourself as a man well enough unless got a divorce or something like that. Things happen, but I don't think it's a good idea to move in with women. I definitely don't think it's a good idea to move. I don't think it's a good idea for men to move in with women unless you're financially able to. If she start talking shit,
You did.
you got the money, you got it, that you can be like, I don't have to deal with this shit. I'm gonna leave. But if you are depending on that woman for a roof, and I'm gonna go back to what Lou said, that's why your friend is stuck, because he's depending on this woman in some way, shape, or form for a roof. Because what I do know about men is when men have their finance together, it's only so much they're gonna deal with, right? They're not gonna go round and round with anybody and their kids. This is not gonna do it. It's gonna have to be order.
I've seen some women have issues with giving men authority over children because they have double standards. So they want to discipline the kids in the household, but when their children come around, they coddle their own kids. Like they're not disciplining their children the same way. So no, you can't tell my kids what to do and how to do when your kids come and run them up. Like that's not gonna work. Like it has to be the same across the board if you want to, discipline somebody else's children.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair.
So
That's
how
deep.
does a man come in that? How does a man enter into a situation? Because when you're out here dating a woman, women say this. I'm not saying this is any of you women on here, but women say this. Oh, it's me and my kids, and we're a package deal.
Yeah, we are.
So if it's a package deal, and then you want to be in a relationship with me, and I want to be in a relationship with you, then how does a man come in when there's children involved?
Like a man. So most
What
men feel like
what does that mean?
Most men feel like children don't have a say, and you are disrupting everything that they knew, so they need to be part of the conversation and the decision making. You can't just think about, you were a child once. If your mom just all of a sudden brought some man into your house and now he's calling the shots and never took it upon herself to have a conversation with you to see how you would feel about that, there's resentment there. Of course, you're not gonna like that man. You're gonna do everything you can to get him gone. You're gonna be even if you're not a bad kid. I've seen children start acting away just because their feelings weren't considered. So now I'm gonna start acting bad to get him gone because I wanted to go back to the way it was because nobody considered how I was gonna feel about this arrangement.
So what does a mother do in that case then? What should a mother do?
It goes all back to how you incorporate. It has to be done over time. You can't hide a man. You can't hide a man until you decide that y'all are going to be together and then make a decision that we're going to move in together. And your children have never been around this man to get to know them and form a relationship.
Yeah.
But that's still not answering the question. What is a man to do? He's coming into that situation. The kids are there. She wants this man to be in the life. So when a man is coming in there, what is he supposed to be doing?
I mean, there's levels to it, and it really depends on the woman that you're dealing with. It's not a one size fits all solution. It's levels to it. So over the course of you communicating with this female and you getting to know her, and you know that this is somebody you want to be with, these are conversations that need to be had off the rip. Like if for me, at the age I am, if I meet a man, it's important for me to know if you have dependent children, because I'm not trying to compete with your weekend schedule with your kids. I don't want to date a man that has dependent children. It's a deal breaker for me. So that's the question that I'm going to ask.
But a man will have to compete with a woman and her children.
He doesn't. If he can have a deal breaker that he doesn't want dependent kids either. You had that situation until you allowed yourself to be with a woman that had small children. Up until that point, you didn't choose that. So you made a choice to be with a female that had dependent children. I don't choose to do that. So I can say, I'm not going to be with you. I don't care how nice of a person you are. I'm not competing with your children and your weekend schedule. That's a choice that I can make. Now, if I say I'm okay with it, then I have to suffer whatever consequences that come along with me having to deal with your weekend schedule. You made that decision. It's not something that somebody force them onto you. You could have very well walked away from her when you found out she had a 5 and a 7-year-old.
Mm. Divvy?
It's still to me, and maybe another woman can chime in. Let me ask the guys: Did y'all understand my question, and did she answer the question?
What was the question again?
The question
What is a man to do?
what is a man to do when he's coming into a situation where a woman has children? And what is he to do, especially if
And I said, gradually incorporate yourself. When you build a relationship with the kid, when you genuinely build a relationship with the kid, those obstacles that most men are having, you don't have those because it's a
Tasha, I got you on
relationship
that.
that's formed.
Tasha, I
So
got
when
you
you
on
go
that.
into a house, you're not gonna have those problems
I
because
got you
y'all
on
would have
that,
already discussed how you're gonna discipline children.
Tasha. I got you on that, Tasha. I got you on that, and that you got to establish.
So what part of the question did I not?
Wait a minute. What I'm saying, I got that you establish that, but when it comes to when a man starts to discipline the children, we're in that household now, and then he starts disciplining the children. Then the woman doesn't like him discipline the children. She's got a problem with that. What is the man to do?
Have a conversation with her and discuss what her issue is on how you're disciplining so that you guys can come to a medium on how to establish that. It's a conversation that needs to be had.
Okay.
And that conversation should start before you enter the home.
It really should, DV. It should have started before. By the time you go to disciplined, she shouldn't have anything to say if you guys have already had a conversation amongst yourselves with the child, all those type of things. Like even disciplining kids, my perception is, again, like I said earlier, everybody should come to the table. Because if you're saying this is what I'm going to be expecting as a man, you're saying you want to be the head of the household. So you're saying this is what you expect. That child needs to hear it out of your mouth. That child needs to hear me, will say me. You need to hear me say, I agree with what he's saying, and you're going to respect him. It needs to be across the board. And the kid can respond back and say how they feel on it. And we all come to some kind of understanding, some kind of medium, so that when you go into the space of starting to discipline, there's nothing to be said. It's already been discussed.
So, and it also depends on what type of discipline you're talking about, because you have punishment, you have spankings, and then you also have to consider, is this child's father still in their life? So you have another level, and like Tasha was saying, it's levels to it. And if you have a discussion before you enter into the home and form a relationship with that kid and have the understanding with the woman, then that's how you should enter the relationship. It won't be so hard at that point. And if changes start to occur while you're in the relationship, then it's time for you to back out. It's time for you to make that decision if you want to stay there or not.
Davy, Lou, and Chris, I'm going to ask you these specifically. And I'll start with Davy, then Lou, then Chris. Davy, what level of discipline do you feel like you should have that you perceive will be comfortable for you, the mom, and the child? Meaning, I think I should be able to put them on a punishment, take their phone, take their car, spank them. Like what level of discipline? Because the ladies are right. There are levels to discipline. And I think that's where a lot of women, some of the discomfort comes from. Like Tasha said, like, how much are you disciplining my child? Do you discipline your child the same way? So what level of discipline do you perceive would be comfortable for everybody involved?
So great question. So again, it's got to start with the first conversation before y'all enter in that. But what I believe is healthy is you need to be able to correct the children, talk to the children. If they're showing this behavioral issues, I should be able to say something to the child to correct them. Now, everything goes with, okay, you can't just be talking down to the children or talking bad to them or yelling and cussing at them. I'm not talking about the extreme. I'm talking about just the same way you would talk to the children. If I can sit down with them and say, hey, you know, that wasn't right. You got to do better, and talking to the child like that. And that's what I did. And then as far as and if they don't listen to that, there should be consequences. And what I would say is, okay, if you can't abide by that rule that we just established, then the consequence is you. In my case, it was you're going to get toys taken away from you, TV, phone, or you can go sit in the chair and sit by yourself, and you don't participate with what's going over here. That's what I believe is a healthy level of discipline. But it's got to be structured. It's got to be some structure, and it's got to be like clear discipline.
So are you saying, Dee, that the relationship you were in, what you just said you did, was too much for her? She didn't want you to do that with her kids?
Yeah, that because at first it started up. Here's ultimately what it turned into. It turned into she didn't like the fact that her kids would listen and obey me, even if I was on the phone. Whether it didn't matter whether if I was in the house or on the phone, and they didn't do the same with her. So that's what it boiled to, because it was nothing wrong with my discipline. Everybody around her and her children all agreed that me being in that household was what those girls needed. So I can honestly tell you, she didn't like the fact that her kids, who were not my kids, listened to me, even if I say to the youngest one, "Hey," I'm not gonna say her name, but "Hey, you know you ain't supposed to be doing that," and she would say, "Yes, sir," and that would be the end of it. But on her end, if she told her the same thing, she would have to tell her 7, 8, 10 times. And then she would blow up and get upset and spank the girl. And
Because
that's what
it
she
sounds
did.
like she should have been taking lessons instead of getting mad. Because
Well,
what?
I agree with you, but that's the case.
Well, I think that's kind of isolated. I don't think that that's like a large number of men dealing with those type of issues. I think it's more so uh some men are very aggressive in their tone when they're talking to kids. That
Well,
don't
she would
belong
say
to
that. She
them.
would say I was aggressive with the girls. I'm
I
like,
mean, and that's a different dynamic than them
your
just listening to
your
you and not
girls
listening
don't
to
even
her.
think I'm aggressive with them. Just because my tone may change, you don't say I'm aggressive with the girls, because the girls, they want to be around me. They're asking, they're missing me. If you're aggressive with children, they don't want to have nothing to do with you, especially if you're not, if you ain't been there. They're going to avoid you at all costs.
I would 100%, I would agree. I think, again, it's a slippery slope. And I understand both spectrums and both perspectives. Because if you're used to talking to your little baby girls in a certain tone, and then because men, y'all discipline differently. When my mother used to discipline me, it was all right. But when she say, "I'm gonna tell your daddy," oh my fucking God, this is hell. When you know what I mean. So I would the fear of God would be in me, because I know he, just his tone, he just didn't play. And I think a lot of times women, because like Tasha said, it can come across as aggressive because men mean business. It makes women uncomfortable. So I'm gonna go to Lou and say,
Well,
Lou.
real quick to back off of what you guys are saying, it's necessary to have two different tones. I have two different tones with my daughter, and I'm more so the disciplinary than her father is. But it's necessary to have those two different tones so they can distinguish between, oh, they mean business right now. This isn't play. Let me move.
And
So
we're
it's
not talking about the
necessary.
mean business tone. We're talking about the disrespectful and aggressive tone that
Well,
some
yeah,
men can
now
take.
that's
So that's
not,
a
yeah,
difference.
But that's,
it
again,
is.
that's the extreme, right? Most guys going into these relationships, they're not doing that extreme.
Oh,
You may want to speak on your side, Didi.
yeah.
I don't know about that
I got
one,
guys on
I
but
here.
mean,
okay.
especially when
Guys
you
can tell
have
me.
older boys, like teenage boys, men feel like they have to assert their dominance in a relationship because they have a older boy in the house, like I'm the man type thing.
This
Well,
is
this
true.
this boy been the man for a long time, and a lot of kids, they feel, well, teenagers, it's like, why you got to move into my mama house? You not man enough to have your own house, so how you gonna tell me what to do? Type thing. Like you can't. They just want to be. They don't. The children don't look to them as being a man, because without my mama, you don't have a place to stay.
and that's not, and
I
that's
mean,
not,
that is pretty much what Chris said earlier. So, hey.
I mean,
so
go ahead.
so you would say that I'm not man enough because I moved in with just I'm taking it personal. You would say I'm not man enough because I moved into the house with this woman and her children.
I'm saying from
Well,
the
And
it's
because I
aspect
based
don't
of
have
off
a
a
clean
of
state.
young adult
perception.
Hold
male.
on, B.
It's
Hold on, hold
yeah,
on.
it's based.
Hold on, B. Hold on. Go ahead, Tasha.
I'm talking about we're talking about from the perception of an older kid that you're having an issue with. Those children don't feel like you're a man. If from a kid's perspective, if you're a man and I need to respect you, you would have moved us into your house, not moved into my mama's house.
Okay,
And the
I can see
fact
that.
that you're still here after I'm causing all these problems, you have to be here. You don't have nowhere else to go. So it's my mama that's keeping a roof over your head, and you're not a man to me. That's from
And
the, you know what
I
I'm
agree.
saying? Not
I
to
agree with
say,
you on that, Tasha. I
and
agree.
that may be far from the truth. You probably were a man who could have moved the whole family. I don't know, but from the kid's perspective, a teenage boy that really is, you have your alpha male. He got his. The dynamic is you're not a man. I've been a man of this house since my dad's been gone. You can't come in here and tell me what to do because without my mama, you on the street. So you're not a man to me. I'm just
Again,
saying.
I 100% agree with Tasha. And this is a cautionary tale for men. It's a cautionary tale for men. If you're going to move into a woman's house who have children, make sure you have the money. Cause see, everybody ain't Lee Allison. Lee Allison ain't like that. She would never do nothing like that. But we as women, when we get pissed, we'll tell you to get the fuck out now. We'll tell you that. And if you ain't got no money,
Yes, you
like
will.
Tasha said, you gonna be stuck, and the kid know, oh, he need my, and then they feel like they can, maybe throw a little shade and talk a little shit. It's important. People don't understand. That's why I be trying to tell men online and stuff when I be saying have your own shit. They be like, no, no. Like
But
I
the
mean,
way I
go
feel
ahead.
like that can be circumvented to a point because it's all about incorporating the child into the decision. If you sit that teenage boy down and say, "This is my man. We're thinking about building a relationship, whatever, whatever." These are the choices. Like, what's comfortable for you? If he knows that this man is moving into his house because he doesn't want to leave his friends at his high school, and so we're gonna make a decision to stay in this house so that you can continue going to this same school and stay around your friends instead of moving across town in the house so we can get together, then maybe he'll have a little bit more respect for the man for you not just being here because you need a place to stay, but because I was part of the decision making. You feel me? There's a little
That's
bit more
it.
respect there.
Which is why everybody should come to the table, like I said.
Right.
Lou.
Well. First and foremost, black man, black man, black man, black man. Get all of your ish together so you can be in a position to make the decision you want to make. That's house, car, credit, everything. So when you're dealing with, if the kid is a younger kid, if you believe in whipping ass, and y'all gotta talk about that, that's cool. If the kid is older and you want to be into punishment and taking away things, that's cool too. But the conversation needs to be had. And I think that the children and the woman will respect you more when you have your own stuff.
I agree.
When you step into a woman's house, she can say all these great things and the flowers can come out, they can blow the trumpets. That's still my mama's house, no matter what. And the same thing I told how this conversation got started. That's why my friends are having these issues because one of them said this. I can get my own shit. Negro, if you could get your own stuff, why you ain't had your stuff before you met her?
Well, can I ask you something, Lou?
Yeah, go ahead.
How do the women respect the men in this situation? Like, what is their relationship like? Because a lot of times kids feed off of the
So,
dynamics of that relationship. If I see
so
that a woman is not respecting you, then my mama not respecting you, then why should I?
That's a great question. So I never ask people how much they make. I don't care. It's not my business. But people tend to tell me how much they make. And so when he got to tell me what he made, he was very proud. And he should be. But
Was it more than 40,000? No.
Not much more.
Cannot with us.
Listen, it was more than 40,000. But you got to realize I've known this person. Ooh, we way over 20. We might be 30 years in, right? But it's the first time he just brought out how much he made. I said, "Oh man, that's good. Right." And so then he tells me how much he either knows she makes or perceives that she makes. And it's not that gap is wide.
I do feel like going back to it's a pink elephant in the room. So I'm just gonna talk about it because it's huge as fuck. I think a lot of times men will move in. Men who don't have their self financially stable will find women with children or even without them, to stabilize their lives and financially, because honestly, unless you went through a divorce, because I do know bunches, several men who don't went through divorce had to start over. That's different. But if you haven't been through no divorce where you got financial ruin or some shit like that, I don't know. To the men I know, most of the men I know who got their own stuff, say move into my house if you want to and see how quick you get cussed out. They're not moving into nobody's. They're not moving into nobody's house. They're just not gonna do it. Why would they? They want to be the king of their own castle. But when you not as financially stable, you probably are more prone to take a deal that if you had money, you probably wouldn't take. And this is a cautionary tale for women, particularly women with children. Because I know a lot of times when you have children, women can only move so, especially if they're little, there's you can't move around, as easy because you have these responsibilities per se as if you didn't have them. So you might be more prone to take a deal. You want a man to come in, not only help, but just have a distraction from motherhood. Because that's what a lot of women be doing. They just want an out, so they bring a man in to kind of serve as a distraction. But is it really sincere though? I think both people, as in your friend, are in a situation that probably if the financial dynamics were different, particularly on his part, I don't know if he would have signed up for this deal. And this is something a lot of people do, but don't really want to talk about. The intention wasn't really, I want to be with you because I want to be with you, is you make $130,000 a year and I make 45. This might be a good deal. As a man, that might be a good deal. Even if she has two, a kid or two, or how many ever kids, the financial stability that he hasn't established from himself, he's going to use her for it. So again, on both the woman, this is a cautionary tale for women. Make sure he's in it for the right reason. Because like Natasha said, do he need a place to stay? Because I know plenty. I can count on top of my head. I know 5 men right now who living with women because they need a place. They ain't got no money. And they wouldn't even be with these women if they had some money. They just wouldn't. That's just the truth.
And so I can confirm that statement because said person said to me, "They ain't really my cup of tea."
And look, you need to be a better friend because if you 30 years in with dude, and he told you how little money he making, you like, oh, that's good. You lied to him. You should have told him, dude, get your money up. You'll have better options.
No, but no. Wait. Lou says all those things. Not only do I say them,
you told him, oh, that's good. No, it's not good.
No.
It's laughable. We all laughed at him. So that we don't even know what the number is. We just know it's subpar.
And you don't. But again, he said that was good for him because the number tosser that.
But it's not because it's allowing him to be mistreated in the house that he lived in.
Hear me out. The number he makes, he don't have to. He wants to.
What's the number, Lou? Give me the number.
It's 75.
Well, it's not too bad.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
No, so 75.
He can afford to live by himself.
He can live by himself.
That'd be okay for a solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't raise a family off of it, but he can. Yeah,
But he don't have to. His kids are grown.
Why you can't raise?
So his kids are grown.
But
He's
I'm
like,
gonna say,
wow.
Tanika,
75. He can be by himself.
right. He can.
You don't think that's enough to raise a family?
Who, me?
75,000.
No.
D, what you about to say? Do you think it's enough, D?
Yeah, you know the average. If we look at the average across America, the average household is 50,000.
Okay, I'm just not average then, because that 75 is not enough to raise a family.
But
It's all what
it
you
wasn't
want.
about. But wait, but it
She
wasn't
asked
about
my
you,
opinion.
your preference.
She asked my opinion, and in my opinion,
No, she didn't. The question
she said
was,
you don't
the
think.
question
She said you don't think
$75,000
75 is
not
enough.
enough to raise a family.
What did you ask me,
Tasha,
Benita?
you
I mean,
trying
Kanika.
to talk over me about it. The question was,
Kanika, what did you ask me?
they said 75. They said $75,000 is enough. You said not enough
To live
raise
by
a family.
himself. They said to live by
You
himself.
said not enough to raise a
75
family.
is enough.
It's not.
You
If they
said
felt
not
it was,
enough to raise a
if
family.
they felt it was
saying-
enough to raise a family, they wouldn't have said he could live by himself for 75. It's decent.
$75,000 is enough to raise a family. You can raise a household of four. A four
Okay,
household
good
can
for
live
you.
off of $75,000.
It depends on how you like to live.
It's not good for. It's not about good for me, and we're not talking about you personally. So we're saying $75,000. You can take care of a family of four. Y'all can live in a nice, comfortable. You may not be extravagant. You probably ain't taking a bunch of trips and all that kind of stuff, but you raise a family off of $75,000.
Okay.
Let me go around. This is actually a good question.
Anybody
Lou, do you think you
else
can raise a family off
Tasha disagree with that?
75,000? Lou, do you think you can raise a family off
Anybody other than
75,000?
Tasha disagree with that?
So to answer the question is no.
No. Okay, so you don't think so. What about you, Chris?
Yes, depending upon the area you live in. And I mean, there's other things that's going to be key factors in that. Again, how extravagant you want to live. I like to tell people as a model when it comes to finances, try to keep your cyclical bills under 40% of your income. Put a decent amount towards your future. So I look at it like if you putting 30% towards your future and then 30% you having fun with, you're gonna have a good life. So if you can keep it within those parameters, then you can make it work. I mean, you got to think 40% of 70,000 for y'all to live off of is roughly about 28,000. So then your monthly bills can't be no more than in the $2,000 mark, 2,200, somewhere up in there. So whatever you could provide off of that on how y'all gonna live. You know, you might just live further out from your job in the country or however you establish yourself. It's up to you. I agree for a family of four, you would definitely want more to lift that quality of life. But can you live off of it? Absolutely, because there's people that live with less, who had less. They just got by, but they had way less.
So the question changed.
We talking about Tasha, and Tasha lives that life. So, you know, we all understand that, you know, she rubs her heels with 75, huh, T?
What about you?
Hey,
we get it.
Do it, T. I love it. I love it. I love it.
What you saying,
good for Tasha, she can throw away $75,000. We know Tasha.
Nobody said nothing about throwing away 75,000. Everybody, listen. We're gonna go back to your friend Lou. If he making 75,000, listen, if he making 75,000 and his wife don't feel like that's sufficient and they treating him like crap, he need to move around. I mean,
she needs to go make more money. Why is it always about the man making what the woman is?
Lou said that the woman make way more money than him.
He makes more money. Yeah, for sure. So
I think
did you not say there was a wage gap with the two?
Let me give some context. She makes more than him, And since he's been with her, he's been exposed to more trips, more things, more outings.
I know he has.
It's a fact.
I know he has.
Huh?
I know he has.
I'm facts. Right now, he has ability. He's down in the basement. He laying out. He doing this, that, and the third. About woo, 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 woo. But he wasn't.
And he don't even like her.
And he's the prime example. And a man like him is what gives us all us bad names.
Well.
This dude should.
That's why she should have stuck to the one trip.
I'm gonna say this to you, Lou. I'm gonna say this to you. Tasha
maybe twice, a trip or two.
Tasha nailed you to the wall, Lou. She nailed you to the wall. You should be a better friend and tell him, stop living with this woman. You're only making $75,000. You ain't up to par. You ain't gonna have no control. So you thinking you're gonna go into her household and have control? You're sadly mistaken. And you, as his friend, should be telling him, no, man, go get your own shit.
Now, pause. Lou is the most direct nigga I know. And I'm telling you, I've told him this, but when we get feelings and we get that other thing involved, black men lose their mind.
But you said she not his cup of tea.
Yeah, that's what I'm
not. But it's when you get to this stage of life,
he'll have better luck going to find him a woman that's only making 45. Move in with her.
But the thing is, when you this stage of life, you realize a black man realizes all things he didn't do, all things he should have done.
Oh, that brother's desperate. That brother's desperate.
He's trying to course correct.
There you go. He's trying to course correct, and you're trying to do it like, man, I haven't gotten this. I haven't done that. She got it. I'll move in and I'll tolerate the things. When you get into the house, you realize, shit, I don't want to tolerate this shit.
That's why he getting the blues now. Because his son he pick up on that energy. He know you don't want to be there. So why you in my way? Why you trying to be the man of my house and you don't even want to be here?
Just listen. Like, if you flip it and he says, hey, you move into my house, I got my shit, or me and your mama will get something together. Let me slide this in. I didn't say this. She had a house. She got another house. And he found out on the back end that she was getting another house. And I said to him, as a good friend, Davey, hey, dog, you weren't in the count. When she got
because the new house is in her name only?
Yes.
But after they were married?
Huh?
After they were married?
They're not married.
Oh.
This comes
switch friends.
Oh, okay.
They're friends. But when she went to start looking at the next house, she never included him in the conversation.
But see, here's the problem with this story.
He's not a long-term solution for her.
A couple of shows ago, we had a panel. Vanita and Matasha was telling y'all it's important for men to have. This is why it's important for men. And going back to y'all, like, 45. Y'all said da da da. This is why it's important for men to have their finances together, so they don't put themselves in a situation where they're under the thumb of a woman. So when women are stressing the finances, it's not that they're trying to put black males down and make you feel less than. Women understand there's a respect that comes with a man who has his finances together. Women understand you can't really boss around a man that can go buy a house the next day. You're going to be less likely as a woman to talk shit to a man that don't need your black ass. That's why it's important for males to get their money together. No one's trying to put you down, fellas. No one's trying to do it, but this is what you get when you move in, when you use women for stability, because that's what's going on. And that's rampant in this community.
It is.
I don't see very many men moving women into their homes. I rarely see it, but I see black women moving black men into their homes all the goddamn time. There's something wrong with this. What's wrong with this dynamic?
But the
Somebody
dynamic,
tell me, because I don't get this.
So-
Why is it that the men can't move us in to their shit? Do they not have it? What's happening here? I don't get
because
it.
you got boys in the house been caught by their mama, and so they never get out to spread their wings because their mama says, "Just stay here, son. It's okay. It's okay. Just stay here." That's why.
So are you saying?
Because, wait. Because if I said, "Hey, I got a guy for you," you're like, "Yeah, who is it, Lou?" He with his mama. He work at Burger King. He has no car, no 401k, no nothing. You be like, I don't want to talk to him.
So are you saying that the coddling, the single mother coddling, creates these men?
It can. I'm not saying blanket, but it can. It can. Because when you talk rough to a black young man, he gets stuff together. He like, ooh. And then y'all said, man, he got this, he got that, he got his credit together, he got his house together, he got this, because that Negro probably had some of that iron behind him.
Going back to what you and I talked about, Lou, this is why you feel like black women should allow men to come in and have some sort of authority because we're creating the very men we complain about.
If he is vetted, please vet your man. Please vet your man.
I was about to say a lot of time women not gonna do it because they're not making good decisions.
Please vet your man.
Picking wisely. Like they'll be with some no good man. They don't want their son to be like that too. So no, they're not gonna give him discretion of
and the only way you can vet your man, you got to be with your man.
We don't have to be in the same house to vet. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, but no, I'm saying just being around him, doing things, different scenarios, so you see who he is.
So you saying time spent? Time needs to be spent.
Time spent. So then when something happened, like you said earlier, then you and the man talk about it. Man, why did you go off on dude? Why did you do this? I don't need to talk so you understand who he is.
Then what were you about to say?
Huh?
Davey was trying to say something. What were you trying to say?
Good.
He's on mute.
Okay. No, I forgot.
Oh, you forgot.
Okay, so that time that you spent, y'all talk about those things. Then you'll have something, if you want to be with him, then you'll have some group activities, family activities. Let's go to Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know, I'm just throwing something out. Let's go to Dave & Buster's. Let's go to the game. Let's go, whatever. So he's around your kids. So then,
how soon do y'all feel like the kids should be introduced to the said other partner?
Introduce or around?
We'll say around. Yeah, around.
Around is when you as a woman feel the comfort that you all feel. Y'all know that's some more internal stuff that y'all feel with the guy, and say, well, look, why don't you just come by and have a slice of pizza? I'm just throwing something out. Mm-hmm. It's a slight, real slight, and you let know, after you eat the pizza, we'll talk for a little bit, then take your black ass home.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask this to the panel. Is there, for women and men, also, because women, we have to meet, when we're dating someone.
Real quick, Nika, that question was for the whole panel, not just Lou. But
okay.
Go
ahead. When you meet somebody, right? Men and women, we all, you get serious with them. They have to, they don't have to. Hopefully they do bring you around their kids. And some people, they drag it out for whatever reason. I know on my end, I'm a man, sometimes the baby mama, she still be in love, and so a new woman comes in and it's like, I don't want that bitch around my kids. And then he got to figure all of that out. How long are y'all willing to wait? Or maybe you don't care, you can wait forever to meet someone, to be around someone's children significantly. Were you willing to wait a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years? Like, is there a time frame, or you just don't care? I'll start with Tasha.
So I don't think there's a time frame because each relationship you're in moves at different speeds. But I feel like once you're in a place where you know that this is going to be something a little bit more serious and that you want to spend more time with this person, you have to include your children. Because at that point, if you continue to spend more time with a person and you eliminate your children from the mix, then that's when the resentment from the kids come in. Because now you have a person that's taking your mom or your dad away from you. Incorporating a child into the mix, whether that's 3 months, 6 months, a year. I mean, there's not a I'm just gonna speak on me. My situation was a little bit different because the relationships that I was in long term were long distance. So it's not like we were around each other or we had an opportunity to be around each other every day or every week. But I incorporated phone calls initially. So my children met my first serious relationship guy on the phone and started having conversations with him. And at the time we still had house phones, right? So he took it upon himself to call my children without me, just calling them to see how they were doing and whatever. And when he was coming, did they need him to bring anything? Stuff like that before they even met him in person. So the relationship was already there. So the first time that he actually met my kids was probably 4 months in.
Oh, okay. That's pretty all right. Okay. 4 months.
We had 4 months in with us dating, but we had been friends for some years. But 4 months into the relationship, they met, but they already had a relationship prior to that, just from talking on the phone.
Okay.
So, and I felt comfortable with that, and there was no issues. There was nothing because they already knew. I'm not going to invite somebody to meet my children that I'm not comfortable with. And I'm not going to allow my children to disrespect anybody and all that. And so the discipline issues, we never had any of that because it just seems like when a man shows up as a man, children fall in line and respect him.
That's deep. That's deep. DB, what about you? How long are you willing to wait, or do you even care?
So for me, it goes on the age of the children. Younger children, I think you can introduce a little faster.
Okay.
You can have that conversation with them. They're young. They haven't really developed some whole opinion or thoughts about it. The older the children, I think it should take some time. You got to gradually get introduced. I think anything real fast, it's like what we kind of talked about, especially if it's, you're dealing with a young boy in the house. If that's too fast, then he's going to resent it. So it just depends. So for me, it's going to be the determination of the age of the children.
Gotcha. Okay. Chris?
I got a Davey.
Okay, go ahead.
We're talking about just the introduction, right, Davey?
Yeah, introduction, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to just slightly disagree with that. I feel like the older the children, the sooner they need to be introduced because it takes them more time to warm up.
I'm gonna do you like you did me. She wasn't talking to me. She asked me.
Right, but so I'm gonna give my 2 cents about the situation.
But you don't need to.
I feel like mutual line. I feel like mutual line. I feel like the sooner you older children take a little bit longer to warm up to the situation.
Why do you feel like you need to interject?
Can you make me a moderator so I can mute him?
About mine. You need to interject your own personal opinion about what she asked me.
We doing tit for tat.
You could have just left that alone. You could have left that alone, kept quiet, and not said anything, and let everybody else.
But that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. But I am. I am. So,
Chris, go ahead, please.
So,
hey, DD, Tasha got blonde hair underneath that black hat, man. You need to understand about blonde hair women, man. They like to fight.
I ain't trying to fight.
They like to fight. Women with blonde hair like to fight, man. But
DB doesn't like to be challenged, and he likes those women that sit back and quiet. I have a disagreement with your comment, and I'm going to speak.
Chris could have been talking, and then
Let me tell you something. My daddy been dead for 36 years, and I'm a grown
We
woman.
didn't need your
So be
little
quiet.
nickels. We didn't need your nickels.
But I'm gonna give you a quarter. So
We
be
don't need
quiet.
it. Nobody needs
So
it. Nobody cares.
listen,
Nobody cares.
listen.
Nobody cares.
So
Nobody
Benita,
Okay, so we're gonna move on
no,
with
hold on.
Chris
Tanika.
now. That's
Yes, dear. Yes.
guys.
Yes,
what
Tasha.
I'm gonna say is I wanted to interject this earlier is when it comes down to meeting the kids, I think time and plays it can be different.
Okay.
But if a man establishes his position with the woman, that I think is the most important thing before meeting the kids. Because I think Tosh might have touched on it a little earlier that if his position is in sync or their positions are in sync with one another, when the kids come around, they'll fall in line.
Yeah.
In my experience, I've had situations where when the kids met me, their mom might have been a little different when she wasn't with me. In a sense, a little more snappy. And then when I came into the situation and brought that balance in there, they recognized that and they enjoyed the fact that I was around because she was a better person when she was with me. As far as being a little more calming and attentive and how she interacted with them and a little more peaceful and loving. So I think the most important thing, despite whatever time it is that y'all solidify y'all position with each other and y'all understand and know where y'all stand at, and how y'all going to interact and act when y'all around the kids. I don't think anything changes, despite who the kids belong to biologically. There shouldn't be no fighting and arguing in front of them. All those rules still apply. So I think if you walk into it with that, then you stand a better chance of those kids seeing that relationship and gravitating towards it to both people. That's
Okay. What about you, Lou? Is there a time frame for you? Do you have a time frame on when you feel like, okay, by this time I need to have been incorporated into this situation?
Yes and no.
Okay.
You know, the if you're dealing with the person and they have older kids, I think that's a process
Yeah.
because I think they have more defined feelings and knowledge and things like that. If it's younger kids, make it speed it up a little bit, in my opinion, right? But I still think no matter what, it needs to be a process in which, like, hey, we are moving through this cycle to get to where the couple wants to be.
So there is kind of a time frame with you, kind of.
No, kind of it is.
Oh, it is. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
how long are you willing to wait? Do you have a like?
So
I ain't waiting 5 years.
So my thing is based upon facts and action.
Okay.
So we gotta look at where the facts are at the time, and then the action that's being taken to progress the relationship.
Determines how long you're willing to wait.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
like if she says, "Hey, I'm a have you over for Thanksgiving dinner," for example, then well, shit, that needs to happen.
Okay. Gotcha. That's
Right?
fair.
Yeah.
Lee Allison, how long was it before you introduced your children to your husband?
It was a few months before I did, but I also think that it depends on where you're going in the relationship with the other person. So if you're just dating them, then there's no reason for you to introduce them to your children.
Right.
But if you're getting serious about that person, then there needs to be a conversation about you introducing them and then them coming in. But I was going to say in the beginning of me and my husband, who he is now, my husband now, when I did introduce him, our intentions weren't to like have a long-term relationship. His intentions was probably just to move in with me because it was an opportunity for him. My intention was that I liked him, but I also had doubts. It just happened. And
What you
he
mean?
moved
Well, hold
in.
on, Lee
So
Allison. What you mean? Can you explain that? What you mean it was an opportunity? What do you mean by that?
to him, it was an opportunity to have a place to stay. We didn't really, I don't think he liked me like that at first.
You think
He dug me a little bit, but not enough to want to have a long-term relationship. Because I remember a conversation I had with him one day. I told him that I think I'm starting to like you a lot. And he told me, I don't think I could say the same.
Mm.
But this is how
It's the sad. It's the sad.
Yeah.
I know that
It's
now.
hard
And when
for
he
us to
said
connect. It ain't even personal. It's we like that with
wasn't.
everybody.
I know that now. And when he said it at first, I was a little taken back, but then I respected the fact that he was honest with me.
Yeah.
And so we continued to this was before he moved in. So this is why I know that when he moved in, it was more like, I'm not gonna say he said, hey, it's an opportunity for me to have a roof over my head. Because when he moved in, he respected me still. You understand? But I don't think his intentions were to be with me long term. And my intentions were not to be with him long term because he didn't have all the qualities that I would prefer that a man that I wanted to be with long term had. We grew with each other as time went by. So when he came in, of course, he didn't have any say so with what my children did. He probably didn't even want to. But the things that he brought, the quality of the manhood that he brought into the home, I respected that. And I appreciated him for that, bringing it in there. But our relationship didn't start off like intentionally being long term.
Well,
So,
I will say this. First of all, that's some honesty for your ass. And
Mm-hmm.
Lord.
I respect that. I
Goodness me.
respect that type of honesty that you just gave.
Real
oh, yeah.
talk.
I don't know
I
how
mean,
y'all started off or what his intention was or wasn't, but what I can say right now, he loved the shit out of your ass.
No, that's
I
facts.
know that for a fact.
and
Mhm.
you
He
know,
knows it,
when
he
I'm gonna
says
tell
it,
y'all,
all of it.
I'm gonna tell y'all like this, and I'm like I said, I'm being real honest. Um, one day we were dating before he moved in. We were seeing each other, and I went to get him one day. And this is like I was the type of woman that he could have easily taken advantage of, only because I did start to like him, and I was missing. There was a void in my life, and he filled that particular void. Even though I had doubts because I went and picked him up one day and he came with a bunch of clothes. And I'm like, where's he going with that stuff? He was coming to my house and he did. He came and
He
he
never
never left.
left.
He never left. But I'm not
Uh-uh.
recommending that women go through that.
Mm-mm.
But now he's a leader in my home, right? He's a leader in my home now, right? He put a ring on it.
Yes, he did. I would doubt.
He
I
That's
witnessed
did.
not
it.
what I was looking
Same
for.
here.
That's not what I was looking for, but he did. And I'm
He
not
did.
recommending that to anyone. But that's how we started off. So he wasn't looking to come in and tell my kids what to do. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't. But it grew into that. And by the time it grew into us having a strong relationship, my children respected him because of one, the way I raised them. Two, they weren't looking for a father, they had a father. Three, he wasn't looking to be a father. And once he got into, and he used to do things with me, like my sons played football, he would go to the football games. When my other son was sick, he would come to the hospital with me. So he grew into things, even though he might have started out doing it just because, you know, he still wanted to have a place to stay or whatever. He may have had the different intentions. But for some reason, you know, I guess we were meant to be. We've been together over 10 years now. Married for
I,
5, over 10 years.
it's
So
so y'all, if y'all knew him personally like I do, to hear this, because this is the first time I've ever heard this story. And Leo's and I are pretty close, so I'm in shock because knowing how he cares about her and how he acts about her now, it's like, what? Because you would
Yeah, so
never know that that was the case because he adores you now. He does. So if that
yeah.
was the case, y'all really did grow tremendously.
Oh, when I tell you, yeah, we definitely did. We
I have a
definitely
question.
Wow.
did.
so
And
Leon,
neither
so from the
one of
time
us
that
were intentionally, huh? What'd you say?
from the time you introduced him to the kids in a couple of months of y'all dating to the time he moved in, how long was that?
About 4 months.
4 months from you knowing him that he moved in?
But yeah, it was like 3.5 to 4 months. Yeah.
After he met the kids or after y'all started dating?
Before he met
Like,
the kids.
okay, but how long after that did he move in?
So I met him. Let me see. It was about we kind of knew each other because the way we met, like the way we met, like the 3 times I told you guys that I think I told Vanita
Mhm.
and her between
Mhm.
us meeting and then us hanging out and him actually moving in with me, it was about 3 months. 3 months, almost 4 months.
Okay, so the kids knew him about a month or so before y'all actually moved in together.
They knew
Or they had.
of him. They did not know they wasn't around him. They knew of him, but they had never really been around him. When he moved in with me, that's when my kids got to know who he was.
Mm.
Wow.
And
Wow.
they didn't feel a type of way with him being there because they didn't know him.
Not even your
They did.
oldest,
Like I said,
Leonica?
they were
Wow.
kind of
Okay.
not even my oldest because they were happy. They had never seen me with anyone else besides their
Mm.
dad, and I wasn't with their dad for a long time. So I think they saw that I was happy, and so they were happy for me.
Mm.
I
Wow.
How
think
old were the
I would
kids?
really have to ask my oldest son how he felt.
How old were they at the time?
My oldest was like 15, I believe, because he was going into the ninth grade.
Oh wow.
And 15, and my next one, and I had my younger two were my younger two, my middle one was special needs. So, but he was functional, but he was special needs. So he was 14, and then my youngest was 5 years younger than 4 years younger than my oldest. So he was like 9, 10,
Mhm.
something around that
Okay.
age.
So they were middle. They were middle in terms of
One was
young. They were middle age, and
elementary,
yeah,
um, middle, and high school.
yeah.
Middle school going, and my middle school was going into high school.
Let me ask you this,
What kind of
Leo.
environment did you create? Did you? What was the environment that you created when he moved in?
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
Like when he moved in, like he you said it was opportunity. What was the environment of him moving in? Um, like were you treating him like, oh, you just need a place to stay, or hey, no, you know what? You're living here. This is your home. We're doing this thing. What was the environment that you created?
Well, I mean, it was welcoming because I liked him, but I still had doubts about him staying there because I still had some standards. I was like, this dude just he moving in and he's really like I had standards about him moving in with me, but I allowed him to because I liked him,
No,
and
because he
so
didn't even ask. He just did it sneaky, like you just
He
let
did.
you just get a bag of clothes and come over and never leave. Like we didn't talk about
yeah,
you moving in.
he
You just
did.
came and never left.
He
Like
did.
that's
You're
some
right.
real.
You're 100% right. And we even laugh about
Hmm.
it to this day. We talk, I said, when you came out with that bag of clothes, I was like, where the hell is he going with those clothes? But I still let him come
What
because
did he
I
say?
liked him.
What did he say? What
I
did he
didn't
say?
ask him where he was going with the clothes. It was in my
No, no, no.
mind. I never
When
asked
y'all
him.
joke about it, what does he say in response?
He knew he
He was
wasn't
just
going
going to live
nowhere.
there.
He
Because remember,
knew.
I told you guys that I told him that I was starting to like him. And he told me he didn't feel the same way. And I was like, did he really just say this?
Damn, did he? Damn.
Yeah. And I asked him about it. We laugh about it. He says, but you know him. I tell you, he's very blunt. And
He
he told me
is.
that's how I felt. He said, I didn't really like you like that. He said, I just
God
didn't.
damn.
That sounds like my this previous relationship because she kept asking me to move in with her and I kept telling her no. It's like no, I'm good. Like I just came out of divorce, right, and moving back to Atlanta, and I was in an apartment and I was in that apartment to be close to my mom. My mom lives in those senior citizen places, right? So I'm in a little apartment. I'm cool, but I'm never there. I'm on the road a lot, right? She kept asking me to move in with her and stuff. She's down in Florida. And I kept telling her no, right? But then it got to a point where our relationship started progressing, right? And and I was spending more time whenever I got a break, I would go down to Florida. So I was spending a lot of time there. Before I know it, I got clothes there because I was buying clothes and sending clothes there. And before I know it, I'm like, damn, I'm damn near living with this woman, but I'm never there. And then that's how we got progressive. Okay, I changed. I gave up my apartment, changed my address and stuff for there. Even though I was really there, but that became my house. But I told her it never felt like my house. So what we ended up doing is we agreed we were buying a house. So that was kind of the thing. I said, all right, well, we're buying this house together. That's gonna be my house, and I'm gonna be paying for the whole damn thing. So of course it's gonna be my house. But that kind of reminded me that's like I didn't want to move in with this woman. I didn't even like her like that. Like to move in with her. But
so why were you buying a house with her?
That's why I said the relationship progressed. It was progressing. But initially, I didn't like her like that to move in with her.
Something changed where you was comfortable enough to like buy a house?
Yeah, because the stuff we were talking about, things we were doing, how this house came, how I found the house, how that came to be about. And it was just, again, some of the things that she was talking about and what she was willing to do. It started working. It started we started coming together on things. And what I mean by that is because most women that I was getting with, it's all about, what I can do for them, right? Just what I can do for them, all this kind of stuff. And she was like, oh, well, you know what? I could add this to you and we can do all these things and we can encompass these things together. I was like, well, shit, that's more, I like that conversation because we're talking about doing things together, not.
You mean financially do things together?
From majority from a financial standpoint.
Okay.
But just from, just different dynamics, yeah.
Okay.
So everything wasn't completely on me. She was willing to take her resources, combine it with my resources, and then we could do far more together.
Did she make a lot of money?
She did, but not more than me.
Okay.
Women are a lot more willing to combine finances when it's apples to apples combination, not watermelon and lemon combination.
Well, it wasn't apples to apples.
I'm saying it's close.
It was more watermelon. It was more watermelon cantaloupe.
Well, that's fine, but she's not having to make up for the lack of what the man is doing. See, when a man come in and he in Lou's friend situation, his wife or female friend the wage gap is big. Most women are not willing to combine everything.
Be the watermelon.
Yeah. And you could be the watermelon, but the combination, if you bring in a cantaloupe, I'm gonna combine my cantaloupe, and I'm gonna still have me a honeydew on the side. Like the extra is on the side. I'm not putting my whole watermelon in your cantaloupe. Like it don't fit.
But you want the whole watermelon from him.
No, it ain't got to be the whole watermelon. It's just whatever his responsibilities are, he needs to be able to accommodate that. Like I shouldn't. The challenge that females have is bringing a man in that can't do for you what you can already do for yourself, and he can't really do for you because he can barely do for himself. That's not something that we're willing to sign up for. If you coming in and you got your stuff together, and you can do, and you can, huh? What you say, Stevie?
But they sign. So I'm with you, Tasha. So I understand this. I'm with you. A woman is not willing to do that, and she shouldn't. But the challenge though is women are doing it, and then they complain about it, and then those same very men get grouped with men like me who say, I'm coming in. You ain't taking care of me. I don't need you to take care of me. But then we all get grouped in. We get in the same pool.
It's no different than the men who say they don't want to be with women that have children, but make a decision to be with women that have children and then complain about it. It's no different. Same thing.
So
there's no way that people could come together. Like, okay, in the situation we was talking about earlier, where the guy made 75 and his lady made much more.
Yeah.
If you take 75 and 75, so you have apples and apples, as you said, Tasha, 150 is a decent amount of money to live off and have a good life off. Whatever she makes beyond that, whatever to that. If that could be a compromise. I don't understand why we always talk in binary, like two people that make two different incomes can't be together and make a life together. Money is just a social construct that we use. I know, but the way we speak is in a manner that two people can't find a medium that works for their particular situation. Whether they throw it all in one hat, whether they do percentages, whether they do 50-50, if they, if I make 75 and you make 150 and we just work off 75 and 75 and throw that together in a hat. However, it's ways to accomplish two people coming together through whatever financial means and having a good life with one another. It's about y'all blessing each other.
Right, but you can't be a man who can't. You can't be a man that can't take care of responsibilities and have your chest poked out and want to be the man of the house, and you it's levels to it. Like, you have to really be able to be a man of the house to assert yourself as man of the house. Just because you have a penis between your legs does not make you a man of the house. Like, there's responsibilities that come along with that, and a lot of it stems from finances.
But I'm still going to say it's not just what you make; it's what you do with what you make. Because you can have that guy, that makes 75 and by himself lives a good life, and that woman that make 125, 130, and she broke all the time because she's spending.
But Chris, he's not.
I ain't talking about your man, Luke, because I don't know. I'm just using the amount of money. So if he watched this, bro, I'm not talking about you. I don't know. Listen, I'm just using a pocket of funds that we working with. That's all.
And I'm saying that the 75 is good for him, but I don't know if it's good for him. Because if it's good for him, then he never had to be attached to that, right? So when she gets talking crazy, back to what Kanique said, and I believe wholeheartedly, I'm out.
But he can do that. He can do that with what he has.
Not if he mismanages.
Like we stated earlier, he shouldn't have never moved in that house. They should have got a house together.
They did.
And worked out whatever financial situation they was going to work out. So they moved in or moved forward in their life on neutral ground.
Correct.
No matter if he made 150, him moving into that house put him at a disadvantage.
It did.
Period.
But what black men tend to do, we do not have our shit together.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Oh, I'm gonna say that, Davey.
No, don't put all black men. Don't.
I am making a statement for Luke, right?
Then don't say black man. Say for Luke. Don't say black man.
Davey,
Luke, don't do that. Don't do that.
Luke's gonna talk, and then you talk.
Don't do that, Luke.
So then
don't say black man, Luke.
Because
when you say black
Negro,
man, Luke,
we say that we're king. We say we're gonna do these things. We say that we all do things. And
hold on, Davey. Let me finish. I'll let you go. Go ahead, Lou. I'll let you respond. Go ahead, Lou.
And so we ask black women to do all these things for us, and we don't present a platform for them to be on. We don't. Baby, I'm that nigga. Okay, you got a crib, you got a car, you got a job, you got 401k, you got this, you got this shit. No, I ain't got all that. But please go up to my bedroom and give me some pussy. Stop.
Not attractive. Not attractive.
So we think Tasha wants us, to take her to Thailand, Aruba, Philippines. I don't know, shit, where she been? Really, she don't want that. She wants you to give her a place she can lay her head. And she
comfortably.
And she ain't worried about the lights being cut off and the internet being fucked up and the goddamn water being on. She wash her ass after you fuck her.
Or bugs in the house.
Lou, you one of the few black men I've heard say that, admit that you feel like black men don't have their shit together. Devi, I'll let you respond. Go ahead.
Yeah, my only problem with him making that statement is saying black men without some connotation, because when you say black men don't have their shit together, that means you're including me, Chris, yourself, and all the other black men there, and that's just not the case. Now, if you want to say a lot or some or majority or whatever, then do
So
that. Don't
let me
say
say this
black.
for you. Let me
Wait a
say
minute,
this for
hold on.
you. It is not. It is a statement. It's not every black man, but does it exist?
But Lou, that was my whole point
Does
to
it
you.
exist? Yes, it exists.
Lou,
Because
Lou,
listen,
okay, Lou, that's not the
your
argument.
answer
Lou,
just
that's not
told
the
you
argument.
that a Negro moved in with her.
Lou, but listen to what I'm saying. That's not the argument. The argument, I said, Lou, don't do that. Don't say black men. You made that blanket statement for all black men. And that's all I told you. Just don't do that. If you want to say a few black men or some of these black men, I would have had no problem with that. That's why I said, because now you're including me, Chris, and all that. And it's like,
Okay,
no, that's not
okay.
the
So
case. Now you do have some black men.
let me clean
You
up
do
for
have some
you.
black men who don't.
There are black men that do not fit the criteria to go to these black women and ask, demand, request the things that we do.
I agree with that. Right. I just said don't say
I cleaned
black
up.
men as a whole.
I cleaned
When
up.
you
It's
said
cool.
that, was that okay. So and these are the points that I want to make with that. I agree with that there's some black men out there. But what I say to the women is stop accepting that. Stop bringing these men into your household and then complaining about it.
I've
Like
been saying that.
you have a choice. Like, because these men ain't coming to you putting a gun to your head and saying, hey, I'm moving in with you. I'm going to
They're
live with
not.
you. And they're not doing that. So women, take some
They just bring in a
responsibility.
bag and
Take some
never leaving.
accountability. Take accountability. If you allow this man to come in and you knew he wasn't shit and you knew he didn't make enough money to get the lifestyle that you desire, why are you allowing him in and then complaining about it?
So
The same way
That makes no
men
sense to me.
moving into the house and complaining that she got bad kids and don't like them and being
No,
disrespectful.
I don't move into a house if she got bad kids. I don't
We
move into a
talking
house
about
if
you. We talking
no,
about in general.
I'm saying men don't move into the house if she got bad kids.
Yeah, they do.
You can't speak for everybody. You
I'm,
can't speak for men as a
I also,
whole.
I also
I just
think it
said for the
depends on the
women
age
who
of the
allow the
person
men to
too.
come in there, right? I was saying the same
What you
thing.
say,
I'm saying the
Leon?
same thing for men.
I
Don't
said
move
that
into the house if the kids are bad.
I think it also depends on the age group because the older you get, the mature. Because if I were the same age that I am now, back then, I probably would not have, and I wasn't at the state that I'm in right now. I
What do you mean by
probably
that?
would not have allowed him, meaning that um, I'm more mature. I feel like back then I may not have loved myself as much as I love myself now. I feel like it's just that my standards have grown since then. You
Did
know,
your
I was a
husband
lot
have children?
younger. I'm sorry.
Does your husband
Which
have children?
no, he has no kids.
Mm.
He don't want his own, and he accept mine as his now, but he doesn't have any. No. And so I think that it's a maturity level. It's what you we all know that we've grown. We do a lot of things different now at our ages now than we did when we were in our 20s. And so I think now I would have made a different decision back then versus now. So it definitely depends on the state that you're in, how old you are, the maturity level, what your upbringing were, what you saw when you were growing up. All those things play a factor in the decisions that we make in life.
Well, but the same
And one of
thing that
those,
you allowed back then, women still doing it today. Still allowing
yeah,
the bag to come through the door and never leaving. No.
and you're right, and I agree with you 100%, Tasha. With a lot of things you said tonight, I agree with you 100%. And going back to when I don't want to take it all the way back, but when he was talking about the 75,000, I honestly don't think a family of four can live a comfortable life off of 75,000. At the state that we're in now with groceries,
You spend $400, $500 to feed 4 people when you go to the grocery store, and then you got to
Rent
have
at an
enough room in
apartment
your
is
home.
$2,000. That's your
$2,000
whole
for
monthly income right there.
Yeah, you're paying at least $3,000 a month for a 4-bedroom home and utilities. You're in a decent area because you want to raise your kids in a decent area. So $75,000 is definitely, to me, honestly, not enough to raise a family on.
Let me ask you
I
this,
didn't
Lee
get
Allison.
that question earlier. So
Let me ask you this. Do you feel, let me ask you this. I know you don't know because that wasn't the situation, but do you perceive, had you met him and you didn't have any kids at all, do you think you would have took the same route? If you was a
yeah,
single woman, no kid, you still would have took the same route?
I would have back then. Yeah,
You did it on the strength that you just liked him like that.
that's it.
Wow.
I was
That's
feeling him
deep.
like that. So,
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your honesty.
So it didn't matter that he wasn't feeling you. You felt like it would grow over time because you liked him enough. You didn't
I
care that
felt
he
like
was.
he was feeling me, but not as much as I was feeling him. He
And
said that I told him I'm beginning to like you a lot. He says, well, he didn't say he didn't like me, but he didn't feel the same way that I felt. Like I felt like I liked him enough for us to have a committed relationship. And I think that he wasn't ready for that. He just wanted to, date me, live with me, and do what he wanted to do also.
And
And he
and
was
in
honest
these
about it.
defense, and the
Uh-huh.
in these defense, everybody, because if you're not a Sagittarius, you're not gonna understand us. In his defense, we're not built like all you rest of y'all. We don't operate like that. Like we don't get emotionally connected and want to do all that love shit. We don't care about none of that. It takes us a minute to grow to that. It ain't that we don't like you. We probably do like you, but doing all that extra shit, our mind don't work like that. You got
And
to
that
give
line
us
is sugarcoating.
time to build up to that with you because we're just not made like that. So when he said, I don't feel, he was honest with, because that's how we are. We're very honest. He just didn't feel like that, but he liked her, but not the way she a Scorpio, not
Not
the
the way
way,
I liked him.
not the
And he
Scorpio
didn't
claw.
he didn't you're right. He didn't treat me bad. No.
What month is
He wasn't
Sagittarius?
disrespectful. He did not treat me bad. He wasn't
No, we
disrespectful.
don't.
He didn't treat me bad. And it's just like he just wasn't feeling me like
That's
I
how
was
we
feeling
are.
him. And he let me know because that's just who he is. He's still that way today. He's just a person who's not gonna tell you to he man, he might lie sometimes. I ain't gonna say he don't lie, but he's gonna be honest with the way he feels about anything.
Absolutely.
Anything, he's gonna be
Absolutely.
straightforward. And I know that now being with him for so long, why
So
he said what he said back then.
so when you tell the story, if that's what tell the story, and everybody is like, well, damn, that. But me knowing how we are, how we operate, what we think, and how we move, that's pretty a lot of standards for a lot of Sagittarius. Is we don't connect like that. We like you, we'll kick it with you, but doing all that extra shit, like getting in a relationship, falling in love, we'll be. It doesn't even. It's not that deep for us. So we can just kick it, and then it's a slow build for us. It's a slow build. And a lot of times people misunderstand that and take it as, oh, well, they're not feeling us, or they don't like us, or what's wrong with me, or what's the problem. It ain't that. We just aren't made that way. Sagittarius are the independent sign of the zodiac. We're loners just by nature. That's just how we are. So when you try to connect to us, give us a minute. Give us a
Yeah,
minute because we got to
even when I
relinquish
can't
our
go
independence.
around,
Yeah, that's not
even if
easy
he
for
can
us.
still go around people,
Yeah,
he's the
y'all.
same way. He got to warm up to you. He don't trust
We
everybody.
do.
And if he don't,
Yeah,
he'll
no,
be like, tell me
y'all meant it be years,
don't trust her.
Tanika.
Huh?
Y'all meant it be years, and everybody just don't have that kind of time. I mean,
What month is Sagittarius? What month?
November. I had one.
December.
November,
Yeah, I had
December.
November, December.
Hey, so
the relationship that I was talking about. He is Sagittarius. Y'all too slow. The year build up. It don't.
my
Like
daughter and my ex-wife.
come on, Grandpa. Come on, Grandpa. Like,
but you know what? I respect the fact that you can definitely know that the Sagittarius is going to keep it real with you. Majority of the time, they ain't sugarcoating nothing.
Not a goddamn thing.
Real. You don't have to
We
question
tell you. We
how they
tell
look at
you.
They're going to tell you.
We
Taurus
say
won't
it.
either.
Huh?
I say Taurus won't either.
Yeah, we be looking like we own some sneaky shit or it's a bunch of other motherfuckers. It don't be a bunch of other people. It don't be that. We just take a minute to connect.
Stop saying the minute, because that don't y'all minute and other people minute. Stop saying a minute. Just say it take us a long time. That's what. It's a long time.
That's funny.
What I think y'all do is y'all evaluate the situation really quick. Y'all keep it real 100%, and you don't really put up with a lot of bullshit. So it take you a minute to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, because you might see straight through them in the beginning and you call it out like that.
All day long. We don't want to listen. We Sagittarius, we got our own shit. So we listen, taking on everybody else's dramas and traumas and kids and bullshit and all that. We got to assess this situation and see if that's something we're willing to do, because we got our own thing. We're in our own fucking lane. And so to incorporate somebody else in our life, we like, hold on. I don't want you to come fuck up my vibe. So let me see if this is something I'm trying to do. And sometimes it take us a minute to relinquish. Okay, all right, I can bring you into, my sphere, because we be completely okay being by ourselves. A lot of people don't understand that. People are like, why aren't you in a relationship? That's my biggest question. I get it at least twice a month, at least, from different people. Why aren't you in a relationship? I don't get this. Why aren't you married? Because people fuck up my vibe. I'm less happy. Honestly, I tell V this all the time. It's so strange. I'm less happy when I'm in a relationship versus when I'm single. When I get in a relationship, I know I'm about to relinquish some form of happiness, and I shouldn't feel that way. And that's because I've grown and healed to a certain degree, to where now I feel like, particularly with men, no shade to men, but y'all don't do a lot of internal work. I feel like I'm taking on the trauma of men, undiagnosed, unhealed, unresolved, unacknowledged trauma that they don't know, ain't dealing with. Now I got to try to work through and deal with and maneuver all his bullshit. And I just don't want to do that. I don't want to be responsible for nobody else's healing. So for me, it's like I kind of stay a little bit distant from men, because I don't want to take on their shit. I just don't want them to fuck up my vibe. So that'll be a little bit more of me saying, hold on, I don't know if I'm trying to do this, because I've done a lot of work on myself, and I'm not trying to compromise that by bringing you into my energy. Now my energy, my vibration is lowering up, because I'm trying to help, heal, fix, see what you got going on. You don't know how to express yourself. You don't know how to process your feelings. You don't know how to deal with whatever you're going on inside. You don't talk about it. I don't want to deal with that. And that's how Sagittarius are. We're completely cool in our own shit. So it can come across as we're cold, distant players, all of that. It's not even that. We just don't want nobody fucking up our vibe. And a lot of people take that the wrong way. But I'm going to ask the one final question, because we're almost at the two hour mark, and then we'll go ahead and close out, because I know you all got to go. But my final and last question is to the whole panel. You're dating someone, you like them a lot, both men and women, you vibing, but your child comes to you and say, I don't really like them. I don't like them. It's something about them that I just ain't vibing with. No, I don't want y'all to get married. No. Your child, your 13 or 14-year-old tells you this. What do you do? I'll start with Tasha.
Come back to me.
Maybe okay. Okay, TV.
They 13?
Yes.
13?
13, 14, 15, yes. They're like, it's a boy. What's this, a boy?
It's a boy?
Yes.
It's a boy?
Yes.
With a woman, so woman for me,
Yes.
nigga, go sit your little ass down. This ain't got nothing to do with you. This man met this woman. She coming in.
Okay. Okay. So you don't care what your kid think or feel.
No, I don't care. You get in line. You will get in
Gotcha.
line. You behave yourself and you will act accordingly.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, Lou.
Is her boy?
Yes, it's her child.
Oh, that's different.
I would like to think. I would like to think that I've been around him, said some things. We talked about it, and we can work through that about what that is. I do think that it's easy for him to be a mama's boy, so he don't want a man in his mama's life. And so we probably need to talk about that, see what that is.
Okay, if he both ways, if he says no, I don't like you, do you continue with the relationship?
I'm gonna go and talk to his mama and see where she's at, and I'm gonna hear her out. But the bottom line is no.
Okay, what about
because if she turns and like, well, now forget him, that's not gonna work. Because they're teenagers. He still got he's a dependent person.
Yes.
So it's not gonna work for me.
Okay, what if it was your child? What if it was your son who came to you and said, I don't like her, daddy. She ain't it. I don't think she might abuse me if you went around. What would you say?
Now you're back on my turf. When it was just me and my son here, I made sure to vet the women or the woman that was around before she even came. If she didn't vibe right with me, she was gonna vibe right with my son. Because my son's an extension of me, not a package. He's the updated version of me. I knew that. So it wasn't no like, well, I'm not knocking you all. Well, I got kids, so you gotta set the package. I never said that. You need to meet him, be around me, and we did things together, and you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
And she like, okay, cool. And we got to a point where everything was really cool. They're still cool.
But what if he didn't like her?
Then I failed him.
Would you continue?
I failed him.
So you wouldn't continue?
It's on me. That means I did something wrong. I'm not going to go keep pushing that. I need to reevaluate myself.
So you're going to leave you're going to dump her?
No, I'm going to put it on pause. And I'm going to reevaluate what I did.
Okay. So you're not going to leave or stay.
So with that, that's the thing that women won't do. They won't reevaluate themselves. I reevaluate myself like, man, I didn't do something right to make sure the merger between my child and the woman that I'm seriously dating is cool. And I can say this because mine has always been cool with everything.
He's a sweet child. He ain't gonna be giving you no issues. But if he did, so you wouldn't break up with her or you wouldn't stay. You would just pause it.
No, pause because I did something wrong.
Okay, that's cool.
So like all this negotiating and the democracy and shit, my democracy has diplomatic statements. I'm on the first so much. You're a fucking child.
So you leaning more towards it don't matter what your kid think. You're gonna do what you're gonna do.
You only get so much say and so much whatever.
That's real talk.
And until you start paying bills and paying not five on it, all the bills, all of those things, and by that time you're grown and you're gone, and you can do whatever you want. Until then, all of this is Lou's house.
Okay, that's real talk. That's
right?
real talk.
And if your kids come here, I'm gonna try to make them feel comfortable. There will be no buckets. You're not bucking.
I can't see you what.
You have responsibilities, you have chores, you have things you do. But your mama, before she came in, she gonna know.
So ultimately, your answer is you'll give him a say so, but you're gonna make the final decision on whether or not you stay with this woman, irregardless of what your child feels.
Yes, I don't run a democracy. It's a dictatorship.
Absolutely, Vanita.
I actually agree with Lou. We gonna have a conversation. I'm gonna let you say what you have to say, but I'm always gonna have the last say. Whatever me and my my person is, we always gonna have the last say.
Gotcha.
And at the end of the day, as far as introducing individuals to your child, to me, it should never be no disrespect. Like the child should never disrespect. I don't like in things of that sort. Well, explain to me what you dislike. What is it exactly?
So you willing to hear your child out, but ultimately you probably gonna choose to stay in
I'm gonna
a
hear them
relationship.
out. Maybe not. It depends on what she's saying, and if I have some inklings of some things that, because we all have intuition with one another that we don't pay attention to. So I'm paying attention to, if I'm seeing little things and I may be kind of blowing them off, I'm gonna listen to what my child, because she's coming at it different from how I am. So I'm gonna listen to whatever feedback she's giving me so that I can make a discernment. Like, well, did you see them red flags? I'm gonna go back and start searching myself on whatever evidence or things that she's giving me.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Chris, your children, your daughters, when they were like 14, come to you and say, Daddy, she ain't it. We don't like her. Get rid of her. I don't want her here no more. What do you do?
That actually happened to me, and it was a disaster. And I like what Lou said. I think Lou hit a home run where he said that he had to put it on pause and go back and evaluate what he did, because as the parent bringing the person in, you're held responsible for that introduction. And the way you raise your kids is definitely going to play a part in that, and how that they react to this person. That you let them know that you care about, and that you're out to have a relationship with. So I'll take a page off Lou's script and say definitely take a pause, and like Vanita said, try to find out what is their problem and make them confront what their issue is, and see if it's really something there, or if they're just being like spoiled.
Can I ask you a personal question, Chris?
Yes, ma'am.
Why didn't they like her?
They liked her until we moved in together. That's when they stopped liking her. When it was, she was over there and I was over here and we would get together, it was fine because they knew her a year before we moved in together. It was fine then. But then when we started getting more serious and we moved in together, that's when all hell broke loose. Because it was, I think my daughter felt like she had to compete with me with Tom. She was more of the daddy's girl, and when I would walk in, would be the first to me. So then at this point, my lady would be walking when I came in. She would, hey, how was your day? Give me a kiss. And my daughter just felt like that was just the worst thing in the world. I'm assuming. She didn't state it like that, but that's what I took from it. And the resentment set in, and then she turned her sister, because I got twin girls. And then they turned her older sister. It was ugly. It was
wow.
ugly.
They ganged up on it.
Bruh, when I'm telling you she ain't have a chance, oh no, it was 3-on-1.
Yeah.
It was 3-on-1.
Wow.
And they all had each other's back.
Wow.
All had each other's back.
I mean, girls can be real funny when it comes to their daddies.
Absolutely.
I have dated, I've dealt with
especially if the mother is not directing those kids. Because my daughter tried that with her dad when he got into a relationship, and when she would come home and say stuff, why you feel that way? Tell me what she did. Break it down. Give me all the information. And I would tell my daughter, you're being petty. if you want more attention from your dad, then let's get him on the phone and have that conversation. But what you're not going to do is make it seem like this young lady is doing something. Because what I do know is that your dad would never allow that. Never. He would never bring a chick in that was going to disrespect her or make her feel any kind of way, but she was feeling jealous.
And
So when
sometimes
she
the
would
women
bring
are
it to
jealous.
me,
That,
yes,
yeah,
Tosh.
sometimes the women are jealous and try to, like in Chris' situation, if the female know that your daughter is running to you as soon as you get home, she need to back up. Let your daughter still have that moment. Like, don't you? It's not a power struggle. She gonna have you all night. Like, let the girl get her little 2 seconds when you get in the house, and she gonna move on and do her thing, go in her room, be on her phone, whatever. But when
Did
she
she
feel like she
realize that,
gotta,
Chris?
It wasn't, and I'm gonna say this, it wasn't that my daughter ran to me all the time. You know how like a kid could have a toy and they don't touch it, but then if another kid start playing with it, now they want it. It was more along those lines. She would be cool with just, oh hey daddy, and I was like, hey, what's going on? Nothing. It would be more of that than it was if she ran and jumped in my arms when I walked in the door. But when the young lady I was seeing did do that every time, I think that's where the jealousy kind of came in. It's not that my daughter, again, that she did something that took the place of what my daughter did. My daughter didn't run to me every time. I mean, like I said, she was like 12, 13. But when me and the lady were seeing each other, when I came in the house, she greeted me every time. Every time.
Daughters can be a little. They can be possessive when it comes to their dads. Because even my ex, his daughters, they had to warm up to me, and I don't know if one of them seemed to, but the other one, she always seemed to give me the side eye. So, and I don't think it was anything personal. I just think that sometimes, especially teenage daughters, when they're close to their dad, it's territorial. It's you take who is this? And then they team mama. Anybody gonna be team mama, rightfully so. That's their mama. They didn't want to see their parent break up.
But
So
sometimes even when the man and the woman still together, the girl still may feel that way about their mom. Like it's this is my daddy. Like
yeah,
it doesn't matter that you're another woman, you're a woman, even my
yeah,
mother.
absolutely,
So yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, that could be sleepy slow. And then Leah, I'll go to Lee Allison and Tasha. Lee Allison, if your oldest had told you, I don't like him. I don't like D. Don't move him in our house. What would you would have done?
At the state I'm in now, my age now,
Uh-huh.
I would ask him why.
Okay.
And I was, like Lou said, you have to step back and evaluate the situation. So it would just depend on why don't you like him? If, he's
Gotcha.
taking too much time from me, then no, sorry, son, that don't matter. Or if I don't like the way he talks to me, or it would depend on the reason, basically.
The Lee Allison back then, had he told you that back then?
Huh? Say that one more time.
The you back then when you first met him, if your son would have told you that then, which you would have just overrode it?
No, I would definitely have went with my children said at the moment. My children has always been my priority.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nobody has
Okay.
ever came before them in that
Gotcha.
aspect. So, especially at that critical age,
Yeah.
although I liked him at the time, I definitely would have always chosen my children because I've always chosen them first.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And Tasha, last but not least.
Yeah. So I think that as parents, we know our kids, right? And we know when, well, if we keep the line of communication open, we know when we have children that like being deceptive or children who are genuine in what they say. So if my kids were to come to me and tell me they didn't like a partner that I was bringing into the home, I would listen to them because it's my responsibility to create a comfortable environment for them. And I'm not going to create an environment of hostility because I'm bringing a man into the home that they don't like, depending on the reason. I mean, because some things can be resolved, but if it's, I like peace, and I'm not going to bring somebody into my house where I know it's going to be chaotic all the time. I don't want my children to resent me later for bringing somebody in the house that they couldn't foster a relationship with.
And that happens. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Kids will resent their mom a lot of times because they feel like you brought this man in, and whether he's doing something or not, because sometimes it's just the mere fact that there is a disciplinarian in the house, especially if there hasn't been one in years. It's a hard transition, especially for the children, in those 11, 12, 13-year-old years. And then they be resenting the whole thing.
The mentality is you chose a man over me.
That's what they
and
feel.
That's never gonna let you feel like that.
Yeah, that's what they feel. That's what they feel. And so it's definitely a slippery slope. Now, I personally don't have kids, so I don't want to speculate because I don't know what it feels like to be a parent. I'll just be, speculating. So I don't know. I would have to be a parent to see how that feels to even make a assessment on what I would do. But I actually agree with all of you. Y'all all had great points. And I think this was an amazing show. Y'all gave really good insight, into the situation, which is a big situation, particularly at this age in the dating world, in the world of social media. It's a lot of talk about, dating people with kids and, what are the protocols and this and that. So you provided a lot of insight and I appreciate all of you for that. Thank you all for sharing some of your personal stories. I love the honesty and the transparency that you all come on and give. I really appreciate, that level, of honesty, because everybody ain't willing to tell their stories or, try to paint a picture. So I appreciate that from y'all. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and close because we're at 2:15. I know all my friends got things to do and I don't want to hold them up. Wherever you may be watching, thank you for tuning in. Again, we do this show every Wednesday. We used to do it at 6, but if we have a time change, we do let you know. So turn your notifications on. Again, if you don't mind subscribing, I appreciate it. I have a very small channel, but it's slowly growing. It's gonna do what it's gonna do in time. Thank you to all my guests. Again, I so appreciate y'all. Anytime I call y'all, if y'all available, y'all jump on with no problem, and you're so transparent and honest. And I'm so thankful for all of you for supporting me. Y'all getting paid. Y'all just doing it out of y'all love for me. And I'll always remember that when I blow up. Y'all funny too, goddamn it. But
I thought I was getting a check. I thought I was getting a check.
Tell us in the mail, Kalinka.
Look, I would love the day when I can afford that. It's gonna be a beautiful day when I can afford to pay all of y'all to come out here. That's gonna be a beautiful thing because y'all definitely
just feed me. I'm good. Feed me and I'm good. You ain't gotta pay me. Feed me.
That's what's up. Thank you all. And thank you all again for tuning in. We'll be back next Wednesday. It'll be 6 o'clock because it'll just be me and V next week. Please tune in. I would love your support. And thank you if you're listening to playback, wherever you are in the world. I appreciate you. Have a very good rest of your week. Good night, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
All right.